Start the caucus at 6:30, and it is March 1st, 2015. April. Oh, that was an April Fool's joke. It is April 1st. Thank you. I guess I'm having issues. I really am. I can hear and you can see. We have several things going on this evening, which I wish you would take a look at and make some consideration of passing as much as we possibly can pass. First of all, we do have an addendum, and I hope you've all looked at that. Good. Any questions on the addendum?
I have just some clarification. They're doing concrete work. This was the same area where last year when we had sequential downpour storms, it was heavily flooded and so forth. So in addition to the concrete work, are they going to be working in the storm drain sewers to alleviate and prevent that type of flooding from happening again?
Yes, Mayor, I think we talked about that.
I'm sorry?
Going into the sewers, I think Ed Bren and you had talked about it, and I had been on that conversation as well, that they were going to raise the sewers to a level where it wouldn't overflow. They were going to work on them. You hadn't heard any more? The one up on Northfield? The one...
I mean, that's an ODOT project, so they're going to do what they ever have to make the problem there go away. But you understand the road. There's a low area there, so from miles and from ranges, it just comes down into a like low.
And I believe they were going to check for any kind of broken pipe underneath it and repair that. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what's doing concrete, because that was the same area when we had the sequential downpours last year. They flooded and they closed it off, so I was wondering if they were going to address it.
They need to clean them out is what they need to do.
Right.
They need to suck out all the catch basins and snake the names over there.
Okay.
That's what they need to do.
Let me give a call to Ed and make sure that, and then I'll email everyone just to make sure that that's exactly what they'll be doing. That won't be...
Madam Chair?
Yes.
May I speak to that, please?
Certainly, go ahead.
At that ODOT meeting, they had agreed to camera all of the sewers down there to see if there was any broken lines. They also was going to check the height of those sewers and see if they were tied to any type of pumping station to get any excess water up to a level that it was to the regular storm sewers to drain. So the answer to the question, yes, it was going to check to see what was causing that. It was also going to check the size of the storm lines,
right.
to see if they were the size that they should be. And they was going to do that before they did the road. So if they had to replace any sewer line, they would do that first.
We can make sure, Ed is on top of that. They also weren't quite sure of where the storm sewers were all being connected at that point in time. So maybe he knows a little bit more. Okay. We have no communications this evening? No. And any committee reports this evening? No? How about moving over to the legislation then? 2015-11, and that's for title to the parcels of land at 5130 Lee Road, the old Petites property. Tony? Did you want to make that a note, an amendment to it?
Yeah.
Would you like to share it with everyone before you do it? No, before you do it.
It was brought to our attention at the last meeting that the charter, chapter, Article 16, Section 3, says that any land that transfers to or from the city has to go through planning and zoning. So I would like to propose to waive the requirement so that we could go ahead and vote on this, and it needs a 3/4 vote by council.
Which is 6.
Which is 6.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Moving on to Resolution 2015-13, and this is a first reading to look at the possibility of a Maple Heights Senior Center tax levy again. And this first reading, it can be sent down to the auditor for...
It's going to suspend the rules.
Right, in order to do that. We were hoping we could suspend the rules and send this down to the auditor to at least get some idea of, to clarify the total valuation by the city and to move on it if possible. This would be suspended tonight. Is that a possibility with anybody? This is just to send it down to the auditor. Any comments, please?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Yes?
yeah.
Yes? Any other?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. We need it.
Okay.
Be a great access to
Madam Chair,
We'll know a little more once it's clarified. Yes, go ahead.
these are the same numbers that we used last time. Do they need to be increased?
Don't know. I don't know.
Anthony told me to write it like that.
same numbers. I don't feel it needs to be increased. But council thinks that we need to change it, we can.
I'm just
That would be up to
saying,
Linda.
if we go to the voters, we need to make sure that it's enough money to cover what we need to have. And I don't know if times have changed or if we need to adjust.
But you wouldn't be collecting the money, I believe, until 2017.
Right, and that's...
We collected in 16, we'd receive it in 17.
I'm sorry.
We could collect it in 16, you have to get special, excuse me.
As early as 16.
Yeah, you can't have to let them know.
Okay.
There's a way you can do that.
Okay.
So would we be tied into this if we wanted to generate more in the tax or in the levy? We would be tied into it by sending this down now?
Well, I think the 1.3 would probably be the constant here. And I think before we estimated it to be about $318,000 that would generate. So
That would be ample.
it probably wouldn't be much different.
Be close. It would be close. It would be with the assumption that the area agency and the county would continue funding us at the level they're funding us.
Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Mr. Jackson?
One of the things that seemed to be a constant when you talked to the residents about a tax levy for a specific department, they're in the assumption that that levy covers the total costs per year for that department. I think that might have been what Tony might have been asking, but that's what I hear, especially with the police and fire. They said, well, we just passed the levy. You have to then explain to them, yeah, but that wasn't enough to cover the total year's expenses of that. So when asking about the 1.3, I think the question might be, if that's not enough to cover that department for the year, do we want to increase it to make sure that it covers that department for a year?
Exactly, because it's not fair to put something on the ballot and then we still fall short. Because we're paying taxes on something and then we still need to have additional funds. And if it will cover the senior center, that's good. But then and I'm jumping ahead to the next one, is that going to be, did the vote senior center? Oh. So the only levy that, I'm sorry. I misread. I thought they were the same two levies we had last year.
No. Yes.
So, Madam President, the first one that you talked about passing would be an inquiry to see what it would, and we would not be tied to that if you wanted to change it.
But if you change it, you have to get another
Estimate on how.
estimate. Yes.
So do you want to discuss it further and think about changing it before we send it down?
It's your department, what did you suggest?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Time frame is from now to
Oh, we
put on the ballot.
have time.
Is it?
We do have time.
Well, then, maybe if you would, Irene and I could get together and make sure of what's
Okay.
going on. Because
All right.
it does not include, you understand, this only includes the senior center and the food pantry.
Right.
That's it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your comment.
I didn't have anything to say yet.
Okay, all right.
But I think that would be a good idea if it doesn't.
Mr. Melling?
And just, Ms. Vopat, thank you, Madam Chair. If you could just check with regard to the funding you currently receive by grants through your governmental resources to make certain that if you fully fund it with this legislation, if this were to pass, you may be jeopardizing the receipt of those funds.
I will, but I don't believe that would be the case.
Okay. Just sometimes they supplement, and if you lose the need for the supplement, they put the funds somewhere else. Just check that language.
My experience has been that we haven't made changes now because we're using cash match because we have enough cash. We don't have it now, so we're using in-kind match, and they still funded us before when we had cash. So I'm assuming that would be the case, but I can check. Thank you.
Just to make sure. Okay, so we'll leave this on a first reading. Is that all right with you, Anthony? Okay, good. And then the 2015-14 will also be a first reading. 2015-15 is the contract with our Auditor of State for an additional agreement. Since we normally did Zupka every other year, we need to do it again this year. So we had to extend the agreement and the cost as well. So is this imperative that we do this tonight? Okay. So if we could possibly suspend the rules on this one and move it along, that would be good. Any questions on that? Comments? Okay. 2015-16, and this is the repair of Northfield Road, the one that we were just talking about, and we would like to move this along if there's a question or a concern. Any possibility of putting this on third reading? Yes, we're good? Okay, very good. Good. And if you go to your expenditures over 1,000, please. Questions on this? No questions? We're good? Okay. All right. We do have an executive session coming up at the very end of our meeting, and knowing that, we were hoping that we could actually move the meeting along and limit the reports this evening to relevant news and whatever happening or announcements are going to be going on for the next month. And if you could do that, that would be much appreciated. Good? Yes.
So if I have a housing committee meeting, is that announced at the council meeting, or could I do that now?
I didn't hear you. I can't hear you.
Housing committee meeting, if I wanted to call one, do you want to do it now, or can I announce it?
No, that's your report.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you still have that opportunity. It's just to be concise, maybe. We've talked about this before, just to cut back on the there's a word for it that I don't want to use here. Just so we're moving along, okay. Are there any announcements for, at this point? Yes.
With regard to your executive session, there would need to be a motion
Correct.
at the beginning of your meeting to add that to the agenda.
Oh.
And item placement, are you going to make that like 14A? Is that what you were contemplating?
14, well, I don't know where you got 14A.
Well, I have a 14-item agenda in front of me. Item 15 would be adjournment.
Well,
I don't know.
we,
Come up to date.
Over here.
That's just the listing, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, if you want to make a motion, that's fine.
I just suggested.
That would be added as an addendum?
Yeah, just writing, yes, an addendum to add that.
Or could we do it in the same addendum to add to number 16 and an executive session?
Good. Actually, you can do it at the same time. Let's do it individually, then people that want to vote for one and might not want to vote for the other have the opportunity to make an independent decision.
They'll still need a motion for the executive session.
Yes, motion for vote.
Later.
Well, can't we do it at the same time? One right after another?
Exactly.
Let's do it that way.
At the beginning of your meeting.
Right, okay.
But that is a motion to put it on the agenda, am I correct?
Yeah.
But that's not the motion to go into executive
No,
session? Okay. All right.
Let's just add, motion to go into executive session,
To the
go over
agenda.
that language, and you can add that to the agenda, and be
Okay.
as specific as that motion will be.
Okay, we got that. Okay. Any other announcements here? No? Not? Okay, all right. So we have a few minutes. Our caucus has ended at 6:46. Looks like 6:46.